Gilbert Burns versus Belal Muhammad. Let's break down their strengths, let's break down their weaknesses, and then let's get a final prediction from myself and from you guys in the comments below. Now, I have been away for a while dealing with a few things, but I'm really happy to be back. I'm looking forward to this fight and the main event, Sterling versus Cejudo. I will be doing a replica of this exact video on that fight. That will be releasing tomorrow. This one's releasing today. So let's go through Belal Muhammad's strengths. Now, Belal Muhammad's strengths, he has the fourth most takedowns in his division of fighters who are still active. This guy is brilliant at wrestling, obviously coached by Khabib, who is helping him a lot, and I see a lot of influence from Khabib in Belal's style of fighting. You can tell he has studied and learnt from Khabib. He uses great level changes, which is another one of his strengths. I could have put separately to wrestling, but I wanted to include it. His level changes are really good. You know, he fakes shots up top and then comes down with the takedowns. And just level changes in general all the time, which I think is brilliant because it can confuse your opponent, and he uses it to confuse his opponent and then take them down. His whole objective, his whole game plan is to get you down. Everyone knows that. But can they stop it? That is the question. Next, his motivation. For me, his motivation is through the roof at the moment. If you've seen the recent situation with him being unhappy that Colby Covington is getting a title shot, he is on Twitter ranting. He is everywhere making noise. And for me, that motivation is brilliant. It's something you can't buy. You either have it or you don't. And he is motivated. He's almost got a chip on his shoulder in this fight, and I can't wait to see him fight with that chip on his shoulder, if you know what I mean. He's been calling out everyone under the sun in his division, from Leon Edwards to Khamzat Chimaev to Gilbert Burns. He is motivated and raring to go. So his motivation is a great strength he has for this fight, and let's see if he can carry that on after this fight, if the motivation will stay, because some fighters are motivated. Well, I mean, you see it with Conor McGregor for sure. A motivated Conor McGregor is almost unbeatable. But when he doesn't have that motivation, he is not the same fighter. Is this going to happen to Belal? Who knows? But at the moment, this guy is very motivated. And then the other thing I could have included with the level changes, actually, was his forward pressure. Again, reminds me of Khabib. He will pressure you into the parts of the octagon he wants you to be in, i.e. right with your back against the fence, and then he level changes to get the takedown. I probably should have mentioned that earlier, but his forward pressure is really good. Now, Belal, weaknesses. What are your weaknesses, son? Well, now, experience fighting good opposition. The guy hasn't fought anyone in the top 5 in his weight division. Is that his fault or not? Who knows? But this is new for him, and the question is, can he make that step up, which is unanswerable. But the fact that he hasn't got that experience, which Gilbert Burns definitely has, is a massive weakness. Another one which is a strength and a weakness is he's very one-dimensional. One-dimensional is good because you can train the parts of your game you want to be very, 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 very good at. So Khabib, for example, was extremely one-dimensional, but trained that down to a T. So he knew exactly what he was doing and no one could stop him. For me, Belal is very, very one-dimensional. So that is a weakness, because if Gilbert Burns can keep it on the feet, or outdo him with his jiu-jitsu, maybe, but if Gilbert Burns can keep it on the feet, Belal will struggle, in my opinion. And then again, lots of decision wins. He doesn't put away too many people. Is that a weakness? I think it is, because the more people you put down, or put out, sorry, the more longevity you have. Again, the odd one being Max Holloway, who can still fight for some reason. But when you take the decision out of the hands of the judges, your percentage of winning, or your percentage chance of winning, instantly goes up. So for me, lots of decision wins isn't a positive. Now, Gilbert Burns, what are his strengths? We talked about him before, not too long ago actually, because the guy fought like 4 weeks ago, but his jiu-jitsu is a joke. The guy's amazing at jiu-jitsu. Won gold in World Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Championships in 2011. The list is massive. I've got it on my computer. I'm not going to read it out, but he's 4-time champion at these different jiu-jitsu events. 2010, 2011 again. So the guy is amazing at jiu-jitsu. His double legs along the fence, there's a reason that he uses that as a common technique, and it works brilliantly. I think his power punches, again, are remarkably effective, because what he does is he throws these big power punches. Obviously, the opponents are holding a high guard, and then he gets that takedown. It makes it easier when your opponent's hands are up here to take down someone. Obviously, if they're down here, much harder, they can get underhooks in. So he's very good at his double leg takedowns and using his power punches effectively to allow him to get the takedown. His clinch throws are brilliant as well. So he's good in the clinch. He likes to lock his hands, get the outside position, and then use his judo throws or clinch throws to get his opponents to the ground. He's very effective at this, and sometimes uses defense to help him as well. So his fearlessness, again, is another great strength and can be a weakness. We'll talk about that later. But his fearlessness in the Khamzat Chimaev fight, that durability, that inner belief to keep going was brilliant. I know he lost that fight. Some people said he won. It was very close, but for me, after that fight, even though he lost, he went up in a lot of people's books, and he was brilliant. And that shows he has the fight in him, the dog in him, to keep going when it gets tough. Now, his weaknesses. For me, he tests his chin way too much. He believes in that chin too much, and for that reason, he gets knocked down quite a lot. I think 7 times he's been knocked down now in the UFC. But what also plays a part in this is that he throws power punches and hooks. You know, when you load up a power punch, the amount of force going on your leg, the amount of force you're emitting is often hard if that fighter you're fighting against slips to dodge the next punch. So for me, he throws a lot of power punches, which leaves his chin open. And he also throws a lot of wide shots, a lot of hooks, not straight punches, again, which leaves space down the middle for his chin to get tested. So that's another weakness of his. And he can be open to having a scrap or a brawl, which is a weakness in my opinion, and why his chin has also been tested too much. The Khamzat Chimaev fight, again, was a fun watch, but for me, he was way too wild. Both fighters were way too wild in my opinion. But that is why he gets his chin tested often at times. He loves a brawl, he loves a scrap. I'm not complaining because I like watching UFC and it makes it fucking fun. So you guys shouldn't be complaining, but it is a weakness. So for me, who is the winner? Now, I want you guys to put who you think is going to win in the comments below for sure. Again, we're going to have people on both sides of the camp, so present your reasons in the comments. But for me, the winner here is Burns. Why, you ask? Burns, for me, has been more active, has better striking, and I think he's good enough at grappling and jiu-jitsu to survive with Belal Muhammad on the ground. And I think that the one-dimensional aspect I was talking about of Belal's game might not be the best thing here, because we know that Burns is brilliant on the ground. Belal may be a tiny bit better, but if he can just survive on the ground and then in the striking department outstrike him, I think he has a good chance of winning here. And for me, that one-dimensionalness, is that a word, of Belal will be his downfall in this fight. I do believe that the winner of this fight may be the champion at some point soon, who knows, and that they will have to fight either Colby or, I forget his name, Leon Edwards, for a title fight that will be interesting. And the reason I don't think there will be a finish is because Burns, for me, is going to be dealing with Belal trying to grab his crotch every 5 seconds, and Belal isn't a finisher. Burns can finish, but when someone keeps trying to take you down, it's often hard to get a finish. But I think in the stand-up department, he'll be good enough to beat him. And also on the ground, I think he'll be able to get up, try and get some chokes. Maybe a submission win, who knows? But I'm going to play it safe and say points win, from Burns. So again, as I said before, let me know what you guys think down below. That didn't rhyme. I thought it rhymed. Sounded good. And I'm really happy to be back. Next video will be tomorrow. Exact same thing on the main event, Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. I'm super excited for that fight. So I'll be doing that video tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching and subscribe.